Before you start your day, before you check your phone, before the worries of life begin to fill your mind, take a moment and listen to this. This message is not by accident in your life today. God allowed you to see this for a reason. No matter what you are going through right now, whether you feel tired, lost, or overwhelmed, this is your reminder that you are not alone. God is with you. He has been with you through every moment, every struggle, every silent tear you cried when no one was watching. And today, He has given you another chance, another day to breathe, another day to try again, another day to move forward with faith. So don't rush this moment. Don't skip this message, because what you are about to hear might be exactly what your heart needs today. Every morning when the sun rises, it carries with it a silent message from heaven, a reminder that life continues no matter how hard yesterday was. There are moments when you feel tired, broken, and unsure of what lies ahead. Yet somehow you are still here, still breathing, still given another chance. That alone is a miracle many people forget to appreciate. The quiet morning air, the soft light touching your face, and the calm before the world becomes busy again. These are gifts, not accidents. God in His infinite mercy wakes you up, not because you are perfect, but because He is not finished with your story. Even in your weakest moments, when you feel like giving up, His strength holds you together. You may not understand everything happening in your life, but you don't need to. Faith is trusting even when you cannot see the full picture. Today is not just another day. It is a new beginning written by God's grace. So instead of starting your morning with worry, start it with gratitude. Whisper a simple prayer from your heart, not out of routine, but out of truth. Thank Him for the breath in your lungs, for the strength to rise again, and for the unseen blessings still on the way. Because when you begin your day with gratitude, your heart becomes lighter, your mind becomes peaceful, and your soul feels closer to God than ever before. There are nights when you cried yourself to sleep, wondering if anyone truly understands your pain, questioning why life feels so heavy and unfair at times. You carried burdens no one else could see, fought battles in silence, and smiled in front of others while your heart was breaking inside. Yet through all of that, you made it to today. That is not your strength alone. That is God's grace working quietly in your life. He saw every tear you tried to hide, heard every prayer you whispered in weakness, and stayed beside you even when you felt completely alone. Sometimes God doesn't remove the storm immediately, not because He doesn't care, but because He is shaping your strength within it. The struggles you face today are building the person you are, meant to become tomorrow. Every pain has a purpose, even when it doesn't make sense right now. So this morning, instead of asking, "Why me?" try saying, "Thank you, Lord." Thank Him not only for the good moments, but also for the hard ones, because they are transforming you. Trust that what you are going through is not the end of your story. God is writing something greater than you can imagine. And one day, you will look back and understand why everything had to happen the way it did. Gratitude has the power to change everything, even when your circumstances remain the same. When you choose to thank God in every situation, your perspective begins to shift in a beautiful way. Instead of focusing on what you lack, you begin to see what you already have. Instead of feeling defeated, you start to feel hopeful. Life may not always go according to your plans, but God's plans are always greater than yours. He knows the path you should take, even when you feel lost and confused. There are blessings in your life right now that you once prayed for, yet you may have forgotten to appreciate them. The simple things, like waking up, having food, breathing freely, and having another chance, are miracles many take for granted. When you acknowledge these blessings, your heart fills with peace. And when your heart is at peace, your faith grows stronger. This is the beauty of starting your day with gratitude. It connects you to God in a deeper way. You begin to realize that you are never alone, never forgotten, and never without purpose. So today, take a moment to pause, breathe, and thank God sincerely. Not just with your words, but with your heart. Because a grateful heart attracts more blessings than you can ever imagine. Sometimes life doesn't go the way you expected, and it leaves you feeling disappointed, confused, and even lost. You had plans, dreams, and hopes, but things didn't turn out the way you imagined. In those moments, it's easy to feel like God has forgotten you or that your prayers are unanswered. But the truth is, God's timing is never wrong. What feels like a delay is often His protection. What feels like a no is sometimes Him preparing something better for you. You may not see it now, but everything is happening for a reason. God is working behind the scenes, arranging things in ways you cannot understand yet. Your job is not to figure everything out, but to trust Him completely. Faith is believing that even when things are unclear, God is still in control. This morning is another reminder that your story is still being written. You are not at the end. You are in the middle of something meaningful. So instead of losing hope, hold on to faith. Instead of complaining, choose gratitude. Say, "Thank you, Lord," not just when things go your way, but even when they don't. Because true faith is trusting God in every season of life. As you step into this new day, remember that you are stronger than you think, not because of your own power, but because God is with you. There will be challenges, moments of doubt, and times when you feel like giving up, but you are never alone in your journey. God walks beside you, guiding your steps even when you cannot see the path clearly. Every breath you take is a reminder of His love. Every sunrise a sign of His mercy, and every new day a chance to start again. No matter what happened yesterday, today is a fresh beginning. You don't need to carry all your worries into this new day. Leave them in God's hands and trust Him to take care of everything. Speak positivity into your life, fill your heart with faith, and walk forward with confidence. And above all, never forget to thank God for the big blessings and the small ones, for the understood and the mysterious, because gratitude is the key to a peaceful heart. So right now, wherever you are, take a moment and say it from your heart. Thank you, Lord, for everything, and believe that greater things are coming your way. There are mornings when your heart feels heavy even before the day begins, as if the weight of yesterday followed you into today without asking for permission. You open your eyes, but your mind is already full of worries, questions, and silent fears about what might happen next. In those moments, it's easy to forget how powerful it is just to be alive. But even in that heaviness, there is something sacred happening. You woke up, not by accident, not by chance, but because God allowed it. There is still a purpose breathing inside you, even if you can't feel it yet. The struggles you carry do not define your ending. They are shaping your strength. Every heartbeat is a reminder that your story is still being written. Instead of letting your thoughts control your morning, pause for a second and invite God into that moment. Speak to Him honestly, even if your voice feels weak. Gratitude is not about pretending everything is fine. It's about trusting that God is still good even when life is hard. When you begin your day with that kind of faith, something inside you slowly begins to heal, and your soul finds a quiet kind of strength that the world cannot take away. There was a time when you didn't think you would make it this far, when everything around you seemed uncertain, and your hope felt like it was fading away. Little by little, you questioned your path, your purpose, and even your own strength, wondering if you were enough to face what life was putting in front of you. But look at you now, you are still standing. Not because life suddenly became easy, but because God carried you through moments you thought would break you. There were unseen battles you fought, silent tears you wiped away, and prayers you whispered when no one else was listening. And yet, here you are, still moving forward. That is not weakness, that is grace. God doesn't always remove the difficulties, but He gives you the strength to rise above them. When you begin to recognize this truth, your heart starts to change. Instead of focusing on what went wrong, you begin to see how far you've come. This is why gratitude matters. It reminds you that even in your lowest moments, God never abandoned you. So today, take a moment to thank Him, not just for what He has done, but for how He has sustained you through everything. There are mornings when your heart feels heavy even before the day begins, as if the weight of yesterday followed you into today without asking for permission. You open your eyes, but your mind is already full of worries, questions, and silent fears about what might happen next. In those moments, it's easy to forget how powerful it is just to be alive. But even in that heaviness, there is something sacred happening. You woke up, not by accident, not by chance, but because God allowed it. There is still a purpose breathing inside you, even if you can't feel it yet. The struggles you carry do not define your ending. They are shaping your strength. Every heartbeat is a reminder that your story is still being written. Instead of letting your thoughts control your morning, pause for a second and invite God into that moment. Speak to Him honestly, even if your voice feels weak. Gratitude is not about pretending everything is fine. It's about trusting that God is still good even when life is hard. When you begin your day with that kind of faith, something inside you slowly begins to heal, and your soul finds a quiet kind of strength that the world cannot take away. There was a time when you didn't think you would make it this far, when everything around you seemed uncertain, and your hope felt like it was fading away. Little by little, you questioned your path, your purpose, and even your own strength, wondering if you were enough to face what life was putting in front of you. But look at you now, you are still standing. Not because life suddenly became easy, but because God carried you through moments you thought would break you. There were unseen battles you fought, silent tears you wiped away, and prayers you whispered when no one else was listening. And yet, here you are, still moving forward. That is not weakness, that is grace. God doesn't always remove the difficulties, but He gives you the strength to rise above them. When you begin to recognize this truth, your heart starts to change. Instead of focusing on what went wrong, you begin to see how far you've come. This is why gratitude matters. It reminds you that even in your lowest moments, God never abandoned you. So today, take a moment to thank Him, not just for what He has done, but for how He has sustained you through everything. Life has a way of testing your patience, stretching your faith, and making you wait longer than you ever expected. Waiting can feel frustrating, especially when you don't understand why things are taking so long to fall into place. You see others moving ahead, achieving their dreams, and it makes you wonder when your turn will come. But what if this waiting season is not a punishment, but preparation? God is not delaying your life. He is developing you. He is building your character, strengthening your faith, and preparing you for something greater than what you asked for. The process may be slow, and at times it may feel uncomfortable, but it is necessary. Nothing that God plans is ever rushed or careless. Everything happens at the right moment, even if it doesn't feel like it right now. Instead of growing frustrated, choose to trust. Instead of complaining, choose to be thankful. Because one day, you will look back and realize that this waiting period was one of the most important chapters of your life. And when that day comes, your heart will overflow with gratitude for how perfectly everything was arranged. Sometimes you don't realize how much God has protected you until you look back at situations that could have gone wrong but didn't. There were moments when things didn't work out the way you wanted, and you felt disappointed or even hurt. But later, you understood that what didn't happen was actually a blessing in disguise. God sees what you cannot see. He knows what is ahead, what could harm you, and what is meant for you. His plans are not just about giving you what you want, but about guiding you toward what you truly need. Even when doors close in your life, it doesn't mean you are being rejected. It means you are being redirected. This is why trust is so important. When you trust God, you stop fearing the unknown and start embracing it with faith. Gratitude becomes easier when you understand that everything, even the disappointments, is part of a bigger plan. So instead of holding on to what didn't happen, Thank God for protecting you from what was not meant for you. Because sometimes the greatest blessings are the things you never received. As this day begins, remember that you are not starting from nothing. You are starting from experience, from lessons learned, and from strength gained through every challenge you have faced. Life may not have turned out exactly the way you imagined, but that doesn't mean it isn't leading you somewhere beautiful. God works in ways that are often invisible, shaping your journey step by step, even when you don't notice it. Every moment you have lived, every struggle you have overcome, and every prayer you have whispered has brought you to this point. You are not behind. You are exactly where you need to be. Comparison will only steal your peace, but gratitude will restore it. Focus on your journey, your growth, and your relationship with God. Speak life into your day. Believe in the purpose within you, and trust that everything is unfolding as it should. And as you move forward, carry this simple but powerful truth in your heart. You are blessed. You are guided, and you are deeply loved by God. So take a deep breath. Step into this new day with confidence and say it with sincerity. Thank you, Lord, for everything. There are moments in life when everything feels uncertain, when the path ahead looks unclear and your heart is filled with questions that seem to have no answers. You try to stay strong, but deep inside, there is a quiet fear of the unknown that keeps whispering doubts into your mind. In those moments, it is easy to feel lost, as if you are walking without direction. But even when you cannot see the way forward, God already knows the path you are meant to take. He is not confused about your life, even if you are. Every step you take, even the uncertain ones, is still part of His plan. You may not understand why things are happening the way they are, but that does not mean there is no purpose behind them. Sometimes, God allows uncertainty so that you learn to trust Him more deeply. Faith grows stronger not in clarity, but in moments of doubt. So instead of fearing what you don't know, place your trust in the one who knows everything. Let your heart rest in the assurance that you are being guided, even when it doesn't feel like it. There are days when you feel unnoticed, as if your efforts are invisible and your struggles go unrecognized by the world around you. You give your best, you try to stay strong, yet it feels like no one truly sees what you are going through. But even in those quiet moments of feeling unseen, God sees everything. He sees your efforts, your sacrifices, your silent battles, and your unwavering heart. Nothing you do goes unnoticed in His eyes. Even the smallest acts of faith and kindness matter more than you realize. The world may not always appreciate you, but God values every step you take. You don't need validation from people when you are already seen by Him. When you begin to understand this, your heart finds a new kind of peace. You stop seeking approval from others and start finding comfort in God's presence. So today, remind yourself that you are not invisible. You are seen, you are valued, and you are deeply loved. And for that, there is always a reason to say, "Thank you, Lord." Sometimes the hardest thing to do is to keep going when you feel like stopping, to keep believing when your hope feels weak, and to keep trusting when everything around you feels uncertain. Life can be exhausting, especially when you are carrying emotional burdens that no one else understands. There are days when even getting out of bed feels like a challenge. But even in those moments, there is strength within you that you may not recognize. That strength does not come from you alone. It comes from God. He gives you just enough strength for each day, even when you feel like you have nothing left. You don't need to have everything figured out. You just need to take one step at a time. God is not asking you to be perfect. He is asking you to trust Him. And sometimes, trusting Him simply means not giving up. So if today feels heavy, don't focus on the entire journey. Just focus on getting through this moment with faith, because even the smallest step forward is still progress. There are seasons in life when things don't make sense, when doors close unexpectedly and opportunities slip away from your hands. It can feel discouraging, especially when you had high hopes and strong expectations. But what if those closed? Doors are actually protecting you from something not meant for you. God's plans are not always easy to understand, but they are always perfect. He sees beyond what you can see and knows what is truly best for your life. Sometimes, what feels like a loss is actually a redirection toward something greater. Instead of holding on to disappointment, try to trust that something better is coming. Let go of what didn't work out and make space for what God has prepared for you. Growth often comes from unexpected changes. And even though it may be difficult now, one day you will look back and realize that those closed doors were necessary. So instead of asking why something ended, thank God for guiding you toward a new beginning. As you continue your journey, remember that your story is unique and your path is different from anyone else's. It's easy to compare your life with others and feel like you are falling behind. But comparison only steals your joy and distracts you from your purpose. God created you with a specific plan that cannot be replaced or copied. Your journey may look different, but that doesn't make it less meaningful. Everything you are going through is shaping you into the person you are meant to become. Your struggles are not signs of failure. They are signs of growth. Trust that your timing is not late. It is perfectly aligned with God's plan. Instead of focusing on where others are, focus on how far you have come. Celebrate your progress, no matter how small it may seem. And most importantly, be grateful for your journey. Because your life, with all its ups and downs, is still a beautiful story being written by God. There are times when your heart feels tired from hoping too much, from believing again and again only to feel disappointed when things don't go the way you expected. You start questioning whether it's even worth trying anymore, whether your dreams are too far out of reach. But even in that quiet exhaustion, there is something within you that refuses to give up completely. That small spark inside you, that is faith. It may not be loud or strong, but it is still there, gently reminding you to keep going. God placed that hope in your heart for a reason. He did not bring you this far just to leave you halfway. Every delay, every struggle, every unanswered prayer is not the end. It is part of a process you may not fully understand yet. Sometimes God allows you to feel weak so that you learn to depend on His strength. So when you feel like you have nothing left, remember that God is your source of renewal. He can restore your strength, your hope, and your faith in ways you never imagined. Life often teaches you lessons in ways you don't expect. Through pain, through waiting, and through moments that challenge your understanding. You may have wished for an easier path, one without struggles or heartbreak. But those difficult experiences are shaping you into someone stronger and wiser. Growth does not happen in comfort. It happens in the moments that stretch you beyond your limits. Every challenge you face is building resilience within you, preparing you for something greater ahead. Even when it feels unfair, there is a purpose behind your struggles. God is not trying to harm you. He is preparing you. He is teaching you patience, strengthening your faith, and guiding you toward a deeper understanding of life. One day, you will look back at these difficult moments and realize how much they changed you. You will see how they made you stronger, more compassionate, and more grounded in your faith. And in that realization, you will find a reason to be thankful, even for the hardest parts of your journey. There are moments when silence surrounds you, when your prayers feel like they are echoing without response, and you begin to wonder if God is really listening. It can be discouraging when you don't see immediate answers, when everything feels still and unchanged. But silence does not mean absence. Just because you cannot hear God doesn't mean He is not working. Some of the most powerful things happen quietly, beneath the surface where you cannot see them yet. God is always at work, even in the silence, arranging things, preparing answers, and aligning your life in ways you will understand later. Faith is not about seeing immediate results. It is about trusting during the waiting. It is believing that even in the silence, something beautiful is being prepared for you. So don't lose hope when things feel still. Sometimes the quiet seasons are the ones where the biggest transformations are happening within you. You have come through more than you realize, faced battles that tested your strength, and survived moments that once felt impossible to overcome. There were times when you thought you would break, when the weight of everything felt too much to carry. But somehow, you kept going. Even when you felt weak, you didn't stop completely. That strength did not come from you alone. It came from God, holding you up when you couldn't stand on your own. When you look back, you can see how far you have come, how much you have endured, and how you are still here despite everything. That is something to be grateful for. Sometimes we focus so much on what is still missing that we forget to appreciate what we have already overcome. But your survival, your growth, and your resilience are all signs of God's presence in your life. So take a moment to acknowledge your journey and thank God for bringing you this far. As you move forward into the day, carry a heart that is open to gratitude, even for the smallest things. Not every blessing will be big or obvious, but that doesn't make it any less meaningful. Sometimes, the greatest blessings are found in the simplest moments: a kind word, a peaceful morning, a moment of clarity, or even just the strength to keep going. When you begin to notice these small blessings, your perspective begins to change. Life starts to feel less heavy and more meaningful. Gratitude shifts your focus from what is lacking to what is present. And when you focus on what you have, you realize that God has already given you so much. So instead of waiting for a perfect moment to be thankful, choose to be grateful right now. Because even in this very moment, there is something in your life worth thanking God for. There are moments when silence surrounds you, when your prayers feel like they are echoing without response, and you begin to wonder if God is really listening. It can be discouraging when you don't see immediate answers, when everything feels still and unchanged. But silence does not mean absence. Just because you cannot hear God doesn't mean He is not working. Some of the most powerful things happen quietly, beneath the surface where you cannot see them yet. God is always at work, even in the silence, arranging things, preparing answers, and aligning your life in ways you will understand later. Faith is not about seeing immediate results. It is about trusting during the waiting. It is believing that even in the silence, something beautiful is being prepared for you. So don't lose hope when things feel still. Sometimes the quiet seasons are the ones where the biggest transformations are happening within you. You have come through more than you realize, faced battles that tested your strength, and survived moments that once felt impossible to overcome. There were times when you thought you would break, when the weight of everything felt too much to carry. But somehow, you kept going. Even when you felt weak, you didn't stop completely. That strength did not come from you alone. It came from God, holding you up when you couldn't stand on your own. When you look back, you can see how far you have come, how much you have endured, and how you are still here despite everything. That is something to be grateful for. Sometimes we focus so much on what is still missing that we forget to appreciate what we have already overcome. But your survival, your growth, and your resilience are all signs of God's presence in your life. So take a moment to acknowledge your journey and thank God for bringing you this far. As you move forward into the day, carry a heart that is open to gratitude, even for the smallest things. Not every blessing will be big or obvious, but that doesn't make it any less meaningful. Sometimes, the greatest blessings are found in the simplest moments: a kind word, a peaceful morning, a moment of clarity, or even just the strength to keep going. When you begin to notice these small blessings, your perspective begins to change. Life starts to feel less heavy and more meaningful. Gratitude shifts your focus from what is lacking to what is present. And when you focus on what you have, you realize that God has already given you so much. So instead of waiting for a perfect moment to be thankful, choose to be grateful right now. Because even in this very moment, there is something in your life worth thanking God for. There are days when you feel like you are walking alone, even when people are around you. as if no one truly understands the weight you carry inside your heart. You try to explain your feelings, but words don't always come out the way you want them to. So you choose silence instead. In that silence, your thoughts grow louder, and your worries seem bigger than they really are. But even in those lonely moments, you are never truly alone. God is right there with you, closer than you can imagine, listening to every unspoken word and feeling every emotion you cannot express. He understands your heart completely, even when no one else does. You don't need perfect words to talk to him. Your honesty is enough. When you begin to open your heart to God, even in silence, you will start to feel a presence that brings comfort and peace. That quiet assurance that you are not alone can change everything. So even if no one else understands you today, remember that God does, and that is more than enough. Sometimes life feels like a series of ups and downs, where just when things start to feel better, another challenge appears unexpectedly. It can be exhausting to constantly adjust, to keep finding strength when you feel like you've already given your all. You may start to wonder why life cannot just stay peaceful for a while. But every challenge you face is shaping your endurance, teaching you how to stand firm even when things feel unstable. God never promised a life without difficulties, but He did promise to be with you through them. Each obstacle you overcome becomes a part of your strength, a reminder that you are capable of more than you think. The struggles you face today are preparing you for victories tomorrow. Instead of seeing challenges as interruptions, try to see them as opportunities for growth. Because with every challenge you face, you are becoming stronger, wiser, and more prepared for what lies ahead. There are moments when you feel stuck, as if your life is not moving forward the way you hoped it would. You see others progressing, achieving their goals, and it makes you question your own journey. You may feel like you are falling behind, like you are not doing enough or not becoming who you are meant to be. But growth is not always visible. Sometimes, the most important changes are happening within you, quietly and slowly. God is working on your heart, your mindset, and your character in ways that are not immediately obvious. Just because you cannot see progress doesn't mean it isn't happening. Your journey is not meant to look like anyone else's. You are growing at your own pace, in your own way, according to God's perfect timing. Trust that even when things feel still, something is changing inside you. And one day, you will see the results of everything you have been going through. There are times when fear tries to take control of your thoughts, filling your mind with doubts about the future and uncertainty about what might happen next. Fear can make you feel small, powerless, and unsure of your own abilities. It whispers lies that you are not strong enough, not capable enough, or not ready for what lies ahead. But fear does not come from God. God calls you to live with faith, not fear. He has already placed strength, courage, and purpose within you. You are more capable than you realize because God is with you. When fear tries to hold you back, remind yourself of who is guiding your life. You don't need to have everything figured out to move forward. You just need to take one step with faith. And with each step you take, fear loses its power over you. So don't let fear stop you from becoming who you are meant to be. Trust God and move forward with confidence. As you reflect on your life, you will begin to see how every experience, both good and bad, has played a role in shaping who you are today. Nothing you have gone through is wasted. Every moment has meaning, even the painful ones. God can use every part of your story for something beautiful. Your struggles can become your strength. Your pain can become your purpose. And your past can become a testimony that inspires others. You are not defined by your mistakes or your hardships. You are defined by how you rise, how you grow, and how you continue to trust God through it all. When you begin to see your life from this perspective, gratitude becomes natural. You realize that even the difficult chapters were necessary for your growth. And instead of wishing things had been different, you start to appreciate the journey that brought you here. So today, embrace your story. Trust God's plan and thank Him for every step that has led you to this moment. There are moments when your heart quietly asks, how much longer? How much longer you have to wait? How much longer you have to endure? How much longer before things finally begin to change? Waiting can feel like standing still while everything around you moves forward. It tests your patience and challenges your faith in ways you didn't expect. But even in this waiting, God is not being slow. He is being precise. Every detail of your life is unfolding exactly as it should. What feels like delay is often divine timing working perfectly behind the scenes. God is aligning people, situations, and opportunities in ways you cannot yet see. If things happen too soon, you might not be ready for them. So instead of rushing the process, trust it. Believe that what is meant for you will come at the right moment, not a second too early or too late. And when it finally arrives, you will understand why the waiting was necessary. There are days when you feel emotionally drained, as if you have given so much of yourself to others and to life that there is very little left for you. You try to stay strong, to keep showing up, to keep caring, but inside you feel empty and exhausted. In those moments, it's important to remember that you are human, not limitless. You need rest, not just physically but emotionally and spiritually. God never intended for you to carry everything on your own. He invites you to come to Him with your burdens, to lay them down and find peace in His presence. You don't have to be strong all the time. It's okay to pause, to breathe, and to recharge your heart. When you allow yourself to rest in God, you will find a kind of renewal that the world cannot give. Your strength will return, your mind will feel clearer, and your soul will feel lighter. So don't ignore your need for rest. Embrace it and let God restore you. There are times when you replay your past in your mind, thinking about the mistakes you made, the choices you wish you could change, and the moments you wish had gone differently. Regret can be heavy, making you feel stuck in what has already happened. But your past does not define your future. God's grace is bigger than your mistakes. He does not hold your past against you when you are willing to grow and move forward. Every mistake carries a lesson, and every lesson brings growth. Instead of being trapped by regret, allow yourself to learn from it. Forgive yourself for what you didn't know back then. You are not the same person you were before. You have grown. You have learned, and you are becoming better. God sees your heart, not just your past. So don't let yesterday hold you back from today. Move forward with faith, knowing that you are being guided towards something better. There are moments when you feel like your efforts are not leading anywhere. When you keep trying but don't see the results you hoped for. It can be discouraging to work hard and still feel like nothing is changing. But not all progress is visible right away. Sometimes, the seeds you are planting are growing beneath the surface, where you cannot see them yet. God is working in ways that take time, building something strong and lasting in your life. Just because you don't see immediate results doesn't mean your efforts are wasted. Stay consistent, stay faithful, and keep moving forward. Growth takes time, and the most meaningful transformations often happen slowly. One day, you will look back and realize that all your efforts were leading to something greater than you imagined. So don't give up just because you cannot see the results yet. Trust the process and trust God's timing. As you continue through this day, remind yourself that you don't need to have everything figured out to move forward. Life is not about having all the answers. It's about trusting the journey. There will always be uncertainties, questions, and moments of doubt. But that is part of being human. What matters is not how much you know, but how much you trust God. Take each step with faith, even if it feels small. Progress is still progress, no matter how slow it may seem. You are not expected to be perfect. You are simply expected to keep going. And with each step you take, you are moving closer to where you are meant to be. So instead of overthinking everything, take a deep breath, trust God, and move forward. Because sometimes, the simplest step of faith can lead to the biggest changes in your life. There are moments when you feel like giving up quietly, not in a dramatic way, but in a tired, silent way where your heart just doesn't have the energy to keep trying anymore. You don't always say it out loud, but inside, you feel worn out from carrying so much for so long. It's in these quiet struggles that your faith is tested the most. Not when everything is going well, but when nothing seems to make sense. Yet even in that silence, God is near. He sees the effort you are still making, even when it feels small. He understands the battles you are fighting that no one else knows about. And He honors the strength it takes for you to simply keep going. Sometimes, the greatest act of faith is not giving up, even when you feel like you can't go on. So if today feels heavy, remind yourself that you have come too far to stop now, and God is not finished with your story yet. There are seasons in life where everything feels uncertain, where you are stepping into the unknown without clear direction or assurance of what lies ahead. It can feel uncomfortable and even frightening to move forward without knowing the outcome. But this is where trust becomes real. Trust is not about having guarantees. It is about believing that God is guiding you even when you cannot see the full path. Every step you take in faith is a step closer to the life God has prepared for you. Even when the road feels unclear, you are not walking blindly, you are being led. God often reveals things step by step, not all at once, because He wants you to depend on Him daily. So instead of fearing the unknown, embrace it with faith. Because sometimes, the most beautiful journeys begin with uncertainty. There are times when you feel like you are not enough, when your insecurities become louder than your confidence, and your doubts start to take over your thoughts. You may compare yourself to others and feel like you fall short in so many ways. But your worth is not defined by comparison. God created you intentionally, with purpose and value that cannot be measured by the standards of this world. You are enough, not because of what you achieve, but because of who you are in God's eyes. He sees your heart, your efforts, and your potential. The things you see as flaws may be part of what makes you unique. Instead of focusing on what you think you lack, start recognizing the strength within you. You are not a mistake. You are not forgotten. You are chosen, loved, and created for a purpose. And that truth alone is enough to change the way you see yourself. There are moments when you feel like giving up quietly, not in a dramatic way, but in a tired, silent way where your heart just doesn't have the energy to keep trying anymore. You don't always say it out loud, but inside, you feel worn out from carrying so much for so long. It's in these quiet struggles that your faith is tested the most. Not when everything is going well, but when nothing seems to make sense. Yet even in that silence, God is near. He sees the effort you are still making, even when it feels small. He understands the battles you are fighting that no one else knows about. And He honors the strength it takes for you to simply keep going. Sometimes, the greatest act of faith is not giving up, even when you feel like you can't go on. So if today feels heavy, remind yourself that you have come too far to stop now, and God is not finished with your story yet. There are seasons in life where everything feels uncertain, where you are stepping into the unknown without clear direction or assurance of what lies ahead. It can feel uncomfortable and even frightening to move forward without knowing the outcome. But this is where trust becomes real. Trust is not about having guarantees. It is about believing that God is guiding you even when you cannot see the full path. Every step you take in faith is a step closer to the life God has prepared for you. Even when the road feels unclear, you are not walking blindly, you are being led. God often reveals things step by step, not all at once, because He wants you to depend on Him daily. So instead of fearing the unknown, embrace it with faith. Because sometimes, the most beautiful journeys begin with uncertainty. There are times when you feel like you are not enough, when your insecurities become louder than your confidence, and your doubts start to take over your thoughts. You may compare yourself to others and feel like you fall short in so many ways. But your worth is not defined by comparison. God created you intentionally, with purpose and value that cannot be measured by the standards of this world. You are enough, not because of what you achieve, but because of who you are in God's eyes. He sees your heart, your efforts, and your potential. The things you see as flaws may be part of what makes you unique. Instead of focusing on what you think you lack, start recognizing the strength within you. You are not a mistake. You are not forgotten. You are chosen, loved, and created for a purpose. And that truth alone is enough to change the way you see yourself. There are moments when life feels overwhelming, when everything seems to happen at once, and you don't know where to begin or how to handle it all. Your thoughts become crowded, your heart feels restless, and peace seems far away. In those moments, it's important to slow down and remember that you don't have to carry everything at once. God is not asking you to solve your entire life in one day. He is asking you to trust Him with each moment. When things feel overwhelming, take a step back and focus on what is in front of you right now. Breathe, pray, and allow yourself to release the pressure you are putting on yourself. God's peace is not found in having everything under control. It is found in letting go and trusting Him. When you surrender your worries, you create space for His peace to fill your heart. As you reflect on where you are today, take a moment to acknowledge your strength, your growth, and your resilience. You have faced challenges that once felt impossible, yet you are still standing. You have learned lessons that shaped you, even when they came through difficult experiences. Every step you have taken has brought you closer to who you are meant to become. It may not always feel like progress, but growth is happening within you every single day. God is working in your life in ways you may not fully understand yet. So instead of being hard on yourself for not being where you want to be grateful for how far you have come. Celebrate your journey, even the parts that were difficult, because those moments are proof of your strength and God's faithfulness in your life. There are quiet moments when you sit alone and think about everything you've been through, and it hits you how much you've carried without even realizing it. The pain, the confusion, the disappointments, they didn't break you, even though they tried to. You may not feel strong, but the fact that you are still here proves that you are. Strength is not always loud or visible. Sometimes it is simply surviving the days you thought you couldn't get through. God was with you in every one of those moments. Even when you didn't feel His presence, He carried you through storms you thought would drown you. And now, as you look back, you can begin to see that you were never alone. That realization brings a quiet kind of gratitude, one that doesn't need words, just a heart that understands how far God has brought you. There are times when you feel like your prayers are too small or too broken to matter, like your words are not enough to reach God. But prayer is not about perfect words. It is about a sincere heart. Even when you don't know what to say, even when your thoughts are scattered and your emotions are overwhelming, God understands you. He listens to the silence, to the tears, to the unspoken feelings that you cannot express. You don't need to impress God with your words. You just need to be real with Him. In your honesty, there is connection. In your vulnerability, there is strength. God meets you exactly where you are, not where you think you should be. So never feel like your prayers are not enough. Every whisper, every tear, every quiet moment with Him matters more than you realize. There are seasons when you feel like nothing is changing, when your life feels the same day after day, and you begin to wonder if anything will ever be different. It can feel discouraging to wait for change that seems so slow to come. But transformation does not always happen in big, visible ways. Sometimes it happens quietly, within your heart, shaping your thoughts, your perspective, and your faith. God often works from the inside out, preparing you before He changes your circumstances. What feels like stillness may actually be preparation. You are being shaped into someone ready for what is coming next. And when the change finally comes, it will not just be around you, it will be within you as well. So don't lose hope in the waiting. Trust that something meaningful is happening, even if you cannot see it yet. There are moments when you feel undeserving of blessings. When you look at your flaws, your mistakes, and your past, and you question whether you are worthy of good things in your life. But God's love is not based on your perfection. It is based on His grace. You don't have to earn His love or prove your worth to receive His blessings. He loves you as you are, not as you think you should be. His grace covers your imperfections and gives you a new beginning every day. When you understand this, it changes everything. You stop living in guilt and start living in gratitude. You stop doubting your worth and start embracing it. You realize that you are loved not because you are perfect, but because God is. And that love is constant, unchanging, and always present in your life. As this moment passes and the day continues, remember that you are not just existing. You are growing, evolving, and becoming someone stronger with each experience you face. Life is not meant to be perfect. It is meant to be lived with faith, courage, and gratitude. There will always be challenges, but there will also always be strength available to you through God. Every step you take, no matter how small, is part of your journey forward. You are not stuck, even if it feels like it. You are moving, even if it's slow. And most importantly, you are never alone. So as you continue through your day, carry this truth in your heart. You are guided, you are protected, and you are deeply loved. And for that, there is always a reason to say, "Thank you, Lord, for everything." There are moments when you feel like no one truly understands your journey, like your story is too complicated for others to see clearly. People may see your smile, your strength, or your silence, but they don't always see what it took for you to become that way. They don't see the nights you cried, the fears you faced, or the courage it took just to keep going. But God sees it all. He knows every detail of your life, every struggle you have overcome, and every step you have taken in faith. Nothing about your journey is hidden from Him. And even when others misunderstand you, God understands you completely. That truth alone should give you peace. You don't need everyone to understand your story when God is the author of it. There are days when your heart longs for clarity, when you wish you could see the future just to know that everything will be okay. Uncertainty can make you anxious, filling your mind with what if questions that never seem to end. But life is not meant to be fully understood in advance. If you knew everything ahead of time, you wouldn't need faith. God calls you to trust Him step by step, day by day. He gives you just enough light for the path in front of you, not the entire journey at once. And that is intentional, because through this process, your faith grows stronger. So instead of worrying about the future, focus on trusting God today. He is already in your tomorrow, preparing the way for you. There are moments when you feel like your efforts don't matter, when you try your best but don't receive the recognition or results you hoped for. It can feel discouraging, like your hard work is going unnoticed. But not everything you do is meant to be seen by others. Some of your greatest efforts are seen only by God, and that is enough. He values your consistency, your dedication, and your heart. Even when no one applauds you, your efforts are not wasted. Every small step you take is building something meaningful in your life. So don't stop doing good just because it goes unnoticed. God sees it, and in His perfect time, it will bear fruit in ways you cannot imagine. There are times when you feel like you have lost parts of yourself along the way. Like the person you used to be has changed because of everything you've been through. And maybe that's true. You have changed. But that doesn't mean you've lost yourself. It means you are growing. Life shapes you through every experience, teaching you lessons that make you wiser and stronger. You are not meant to stay the same forever. Growth requires change, even when it feels uncomfortable. God is shaping you into someone stronger, someone who can handle more, understand more, and become more. So don't fear the changes within you. Embrace them, because they are part of your transformation. There are moments when you feel like giving up on your dreams, when they seem too far away or too difficult to achieve. You may start to doubt whether they were ever meant for you in the first place. But God places dreams in your heart for a reason. They are not random. They are part of your purpose. The journey toward them may not be easy, and there may be setbacks along the way. But that doesn't mean you should give up. Keep believing, keep working, and keep trusting God. What is meant for you will not pass you by. It may take time, but it will come in the right way and at the right moment. There are days when you feel overwhelmed by everything happening around you, when your mind feels crowded and your heart feels restless. In those moments, it's important to pause and reconnect with God. You don't have to figure everything out at once. Just take a moment to breathe, to be still, and to remember that God is in control. When you shift your focus from your problems to God, your perspective begins to change. Your worries may not disappear instantly, but your peace will grow stronger. And sometimes, peace is exactly what you need to keep going. There are times when you feel like you are not where you thought you would be in life, and it can make you feel disappointed or discouraged. But your journey is not behind schedule. God's timing is perfect, even when it doesn't match your expectations. You are exactly where you need to be right now, learning what you need to learn and growing in the ways you need to grow. Nothing about your life is wasted. Every moment is preparing you for what comes next. So instead of feeling behind, trust that you are on the right path. There are moments when you realize how much you have grown, how much stronger you have become, and how different you are from who you used to be. That growth didn't happen overnight. It came through challenges, lessons, and faith. You didn't become this person by accident. God has been shaping you every step of the way. And even though you may still have a long way to go, you should be proud of how far you've come. Growth is not always easy, but it is always worth it. There are quiet moments when gratitude fills your heart, not because everything is perfect, but because you realize how blessed you truly are. You begin to see your life differently, not through what is missing, but through what is present. You recognize the strength you have, the lessons you've learned, and the grace that has carried you through it all. In those moments, you don't need anything more. You just feel thankful. And that gratitude brings a deep sense of peace that nothing else can replace. And as this message comes to an end, take a moment to reflect on your life, your journey, and everything you have been through. You are still here for a reason. You are still breathing, still moving forward, still growing. That is not by chance, that is God's grace. No matter what you are facing right now, remember that you are not alone and you never will be. God is with you in every step, every struggle, and every victory. So as you step into this day, carry this truth in your heart and say it with faith, with gratitude, and with confidence. Thank you, Lord, for everything. And even after all these words, all these thoughts, and all these reflections, the truth remains simple and powerful. You are still here. And that means your story is not over. There is still more for you to experience, more for you to become, and more for God to do in your life. No matter how broken you may have felt, no matter how lost you may have been, you were never beyond His reach. Every moment you survived, every tear you cried, every time you chose to keep going even when it was hard, it all matters. It all brought you here. And right now, in this very moment, you are standing in a place where grace has carried you farther than you ever thought possible. So don't rush past this moment. Feel it. Acknowledge it. You made it through things that once felt impossible. And that alone is a reason to thank God with all your heart. As you move forward from this moment, don't carry fear with you. Carry faith. Don't carry doubt. Carry trust. The road ahead may not be easy, but you are not walking it alone. God goes before you, walks beside you, and stays behind you, protecting you from what you cannot see. Every step you take is covered by His presence. Even when you feel unsure, you are being guided. Even when you feel weak, you are being strengthened. Let go of the need to control everything and allow God to lead you. Because when you surrender your path to Him, you will find peace in places you never expected. And if today feels heavy, if your heart still carries pain, or if your mind is filled with worries that won't go away, take a moment right now to pause. Breathe deeply. Close your eyes if you need to. And just whisper softly, Lord, I trust you. You don't need a long prayer. You don't need perfect words. Just a sincere heart is enough. God understands you completely. He knows what you're going through, even when you cannot explain it. And in that quiet moment of surrender, something begins to shift inside you. Peace begins to replace fear. Hope begins to rise again, and your heart feels a little lighter than before. Remember this always. Your life has meaning. Your presence matters. You are not here by accident. There is a purpose connected to your existence, even if you haven't fully discovered it yet. Every day you wake up is another opportunity to walk closer to that purpose. You don't have to have everything figured out. You just have to keep trusting God and taking one step at a time. He will guide you where you need to go. He will open the right doors and close the wrong ones. And in the end, everything will come together in a way that makes sense. So as this message ends, don't just listen, feel it. Let it stay in your heart. Let it remind you that no matter what you are facing, you are never alone. God has been with you in your past. He is with you right now, and He will be with you in your future. And no matter how your day looks, no matter what challenges come your way, hold on to this one truth that can change everything. You are loved. You are guided. You are protected. So right now, with a grateful heart and a peaceful mind, say it one more time. Thank you, Lord, for everything.